here we have a dynamic list of courses that we can add, remove, and whatnot. But more interesting, what we'd like to be able to do is, instead of having a list of hard-coded courses here, notice that any changes that we make or that we remove, right, none of this is being stored anywhere, right? So ideally, this application would be backed up by some remote API which is storing any of this content remotely on some remote server. Yes. So let's integrate our user interface with a remote API. So here we have a remote API that we've been using from previous assignments, the Courses API, and so we can use that as a source of data, right? That we can perhaps go and fetch from a remote and then render it locally here. So let's go back and change this so that we can use that data source instead of this hard-coded array of courses. Yes. So to do this, what we're going to do is that we're going to use the ng on init. So ng on init is a lifecycle function that gets called, right, when this component first is about to be rendered, right? So this is a perfect time to initialize the state of your component, right before we get rendered. This is the equivalent in React of the component.mount. Okay, so it's going to be called, right? So this is a good place to perhaps do a fetch and retrieve things from a server. So let's do that. So we can do things such as fetch, right? And in a fetch, we're going to go out to that URL, right? And that's going to come back with a response, which we're going to parse the body as a JSON, and then get presumably the actual courses. And the courses, what we're going to do with those courses is that we're going to update, right, our local array of courses. So this will be this.courses equals courses. Okay. Once we've done that, right, if we go back to our user interface, we'll notice that instead of our hard-coded list of courses, now we have these courses that are coming from the remote server instead. Okay, which should be these over here. Okay. So now this data is coming from the remote server. Obviously, any updates that we make of deleting and whatnot, right? None of that will be made permanent on the server since there's no, we're not posting or we're not updating anything on the server, right? Which is fine, right? Because we are going to be focusing in this second half of the semester, we'll be focusing on the student, right? And the student is not going to be able to update, create, delete any of the content. Okay.